Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another pregnancy update. It has taken a lot for me to sit down and film. As you might have noticed, I did not put an update up last week. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. So I am now 38 weeks pregnant. So if you want to hear all about how these past couple weeks have been, just keep watching. Alright, so I will go ahead and start with week 37, and I'll read my bump app once we get to week 38. So week 37, every Friday I turn the next week, and then every Friday I also have my midwife appointment. So I went in for that, and I got checked to see how far along I was. I was just curious because at 37 weeks with Everly, nothing. There's no 100% closed up, nothing is thinning out, nothing. And so I was just kind of curious to see if it was kind of the same case or if maybe something was starting to happen. I've been getting a lot more contractions than I did ever with Everly, so I did opt to get checked, and I think I was like a fingertip dilated and 60% effaced, and then but like baby was still pretty like high up there, and you know, so it wasn't a whole lot, but it was something, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And yeah, so and then it turned out the whole rest of the day I felt really crampy afterwards, and I knew that was probably going to happen, but like it just kept getting worse, and like I started getting like contractions like back to back, like 5 minutes apart. And they weren't like painful, but they were like, oh, okay, what the heck? And then they were 5 minutes apart. So I was like, okay, that's weird. And then I felt like I was leaking fluid. And I had this also with Everly right around, it was 36 weeks because I got induced at 37 weeks. But I thought I was leaking fluid. Turns out I wasn't. But this time, I mean, since I had just gotten checked, and I heard that sometimes they can rupture membranes on accident when you get checked, and you could just go into labor and start leaking fluid. Anyways, I waited kind of all evening, and then I was like, oh, I guess I'll just go in. And my app, when I was tracking my contractions, was like, emergency, go to the hospital, this is real labor. And I really didn't think it was, because the contractions weren't super intense. But with like the possible leaking fluid and everything, my husband and I and my mom, we all thought it was best that I go in just to make sure. So I finished up eating dinner. I was like, I'm not going in hungry. I'm gonna eat dinner first. I'm gonna shower, and we had to get like little last minute stuff ready. I had most of the bags packed and stuff, but Drew didn't have any clothes for him packed, and we needed to get the camera, like last minute stuff. So we ate, we showered. We got everything packed into the car, so it all took about an hour. And after I showered, my contractions started to go away, and I was like, of course, I'm getting everything ready to go in. Everyone is telling me I need to go in now because of the possible leaking fluids. There's no turning back. Like, I have to go in. And I was just bummed that the contractions were stopping, so I wanted to go in and see the contractions on there and see what, you know, if they were real contractions or Braxton Hicks or what they were. And after my shower, they were stopping, and I was like, ah, that sucks. So we went over and we took my daughter Everly to my grandma's house. That's where she's going to be when I have the baby. Then we went into the hospital and for triage and got checked and everything. I was not leaking fluid, and my contractions, like, they had stopped by the time I got there. They had monitored me and all that, and I was like, okay, well, that was like super pointless and disappointing. But also my birthday was the next day, and so I was really happy I was not going into labor, because I really didn't want to share my birthday. Just, you know, moms get so little to themselves. My birthday is kind of one thing I wanted to keep for myself. And so I was actually kind of excited that I was not going into labor because my birthday was the next day, but it was like kind of like a bummer situation, especially because I couldn't see any contractions on the monitor. And so we filmed a little bit of that, not knowing if this was the real thing or not. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert that here. Hey guys!
What's up, everybody?
So you can see our truck back here is full of bags. We are on our way to the hospital. So today I had a doctor's appointment, well, midwife appointment. She did check me. And so we did a cervical exam and I was like 60% effaced and like a fingertip dilated. So she's like, I'm pretty sure you'll be pregnant next week. So we're on our way to drop Everly off. Hi. Hi. At my grandparents' house. They're gonna watch her, and then we're gonna head into the hospital. I'm like 99.99999% sure this is a false alarm. I think that the exam just brought on some contractions and just had some stuff going on, and I don't know, so we'll see. I will keep you guys updated. We are here at my grandparents' house now, so.
We're here. I can't see.
You can't get low angles. I literally just peed in a cup and we're getting checked in now, so nothing to update yet, but we're here.
Find out if that boy's coming or not.
So yeah, we stopped there and we just kind of didn't finish filming because it was late and I was tired, and it took a little bit longer than usual because the first midwife like went home sick, so they had to call in a new one, and then she had to get report for everything, and it was just like, it took forever. Me and Drew were sitting there playing War. We brought a couple decks of cards because we know how this goes. So that's kind of where we stopped, and then it was late and we were hungry again because it had been a few hours. And yeah, so that was the end of that. My birthday went well, and then so my birthday was on a Saturday, and then on Sunday I was like super drained and tired. I think I just kind of overdid it for my birthday and everything. I wasn't really feeling well. I was really tired and drained, and I was bummed because I wanted to film, and I didn't have it in me on my birthday. Like, I just kind of didn't really want to work. I wanted to, you know, enjoy my birthday, and yeah. So then I wanted to do it Sunday. Didn't get a chance because I was feeling super tired. Then on Monday, I had told you guys in a previous video, and I'll link it down below, that I had been having hemorrhoids, and they have never been painful or super crazy or anything like that. They were just kind of annoying and just like made me worry about giving birth and them getting worse and everything. But Monday, they all of a sudden just started getting really bad, and I think it's just because I think he's lowered more and he's just putting so much pressure down there, and everything is just getting ready, and the hemorrhoids just on Monday just got so much worse, and over the next like 48 hours from Monday they just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I was in so much pain. I've never been in pain from hemorrhoids. They've always just been uncomfortable, something you have to deal with, that you just have to wait till they go away. They have never been painful. And I was in so much pain I couldn't sleep. I could barely walk. Well, could. Okay, this is still going on, so can't. And it has just been the hardest thing. Like, it feels like I feel awful complaining about it because it's like hemorrhoids. Like, okay, like some people have way worse and like medical real emergencies, and but I've also done a lot of research, and I know that a lot of women can get just super bad hemorrhoids. I've read of women getting C-sections because of the hemorrhoids. I've read of women who wish they had gotten C-sections because after they gave birth, the hemorrhoids were so bad they had to get them surgically removed, and that was more painful than childbirth, and sometimes they came back even worse. And I read and researched so many horror stories, and I know you're not supposed to do that, but I was looking at forums on baby websites like The Bump and gosh, what are the other ones? I don't know, all of those like pregnancy, baby websites, and they have lots of forums where you ask questions on there and you talk to other women about your issues. And so that's what I was doing, is I was finding out information about women who had this problem, how bad they got after they gave birth, once they were already painful to begin with, and all of that. Anyway, so all week, today is Saturday, and the hemorrhoids started on Monday, well, the painful ones. I have been just in so much pain. I'm crying every day. I'm not getting any sleep. I can barely walk. I'm doing treatments like every hour. I'm doing sitz baths, witch hazel pads, an herbal healing spray. I'm doing an ointment that my midwife prescribed me to help shrink them. Nothing is working. And I know this is super TMI and personal, guys, but I just want to be honest because, and not only for anyone who could be watching this and going through it, but also for myself too. I really want to document this pregnancy and just know everything that's been going on and remember kind of how this was. Even if it's bad, it's still my pregnancy and I still want to remember it. So that's why I am being so honest. And but yeah, so I started thinking that, and I know this is going to be super controversial, that I might want to do a C-section because of these hemorrhoids. After all the research I've done, the only way to really relieve them is to have the baby. And if you have the baby vaginally, they can make the hemorrhoids so much worse. And I have read of women being bedridden for weeks because they're so bad, having to get reconstructive surgery, having so many, and I know that's not going to happen every single time. I know those are worst case scenarios, but those are from the women who had them so bad before birth, just like me, and that they were painful. If they had just stayed annoying and not painful, I would be still scared, but I would be like, I'll get through this, they'll be bad for a while and that'll be it. But now that they are already worse than they have ever been, even before right after I gave birth to Everly, they're worse than that even. And so I'm like, if they're that bad now, I can't imagine how bad they're going to be after I give birth. So I've been considering possibly maybe getting a C-section, and I feel, I don't know, I think it's kind of dumb that I do feel this way, and I think women have a lot of pressure on them to do what society thinks is correct or right, or but I feel like, what is my best chance of being the best mom I can be after I have the baby? Just emotionally, physically, everything. I know that C-section is a tough recovery, but honestly, it takes longer to recover from those kinds of hemorrhoids than it does from a C-section. And so I'm just trying to think of ways that I can have this baby and still be the best mom I can be. And I don't know, I don't even know if this is even possible. I just, in my head, I'm also scared that if I do have this baby vaginally, that in the back of my mind, I'm going to be not pushing like I need to be pushing to get the baby out safely and in a timely manner, because I'm going to be scared of pushing too hard and making the hemorrhoids worse, which could end up in an emergency C-section, which I really don't want. If I'm going to have a C-section, I want it to be planned so that I can emotionally prepare, so it's nothing is wrong with the baby, the heart rate's not dropping, and the baby's not in any stress right before. I would just rather have it planned. So I went into my weekly midwife appointment, going in very, very frustrated, very tired, very just ready for some answers, and I wanted to talk to her about delivery options. And she did check on the hemorrhoids, and she said, yep, those are pretty swollen and pretty bad, and she was like, we can talk about, you know, in being induced, but we can't do that till 39 weeks. And I don't want to be induced. When I was induced with Everly, that was completely 100% one of the worst experiences of my life, and I don't want to be induced. I would rather have a C-section than be induced again. And so I brought up a C-section, and she said, well, I mean, obviously she's a midwife, she doesn't do that, and I could get a consult for it. And so she said I could go up to the front desk, look at all the offices and see who could get me in, and I'm so close to my due date, so yeah. Anyways, I finished up with her. I left very kind of frustrated because I didn't get any answers, and I went to go schedule a consult with an MD for a C-section, and there was no availability there. I think the lady who was looking for it was like, oh, well, we have September 27th, and I'm like, okay, well, that's way past my due date. I can't do that. And there was nothing, and she's like, well, I'll send out a memo to everybody to see if anyone could squeeze you in. So I ended up leaving, and I called my mom, and I had this like meltdown because I was so frustrated, and I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain all the time, and I'm so tired, and I'm terrified of going into labor and having everything just be so much worse. And I was breaking down to my mom. She's like, well, why don't you call the hospital you had Everly at? Because I loved that hospital. The only reason why I'm not doing that hospital again is because they don't have a NICU anymore. So I didn't want to tempt fate. But with being so frustrated, I just wanted a consult. I wanted to talk to a doctor, somebody, see if this is even possible, if this is a good choice for me, or if it's not a good choice for me and it's just not gonna be good, then I'll just suck it up and do the vaginal birth. But I wanted a consult, so I called them, and this is like on, okay, so this is on a Friday, and it's late afternoon. It's like 3:30, and Labor Day is Monday, and so it's a 3-day weekend. And so everyone's like, first of all, everyone's booked, and they're like, well, again, I will send out a message to all of the doctors, and then you can expect a call probably late next week from a nurse or someone saying if they can fit you in, or if they're even willing to take you on as a patient so close to your due date. So I said okay, and I was really defeated. I cried and had a meltdown, and because I just really want answers and I really want to know what the plan is going forward. I want to be kind of eased and comforted in knowing what's going to happen going forward. And I didn't have any hopes at all of ever getting an answer. I was like, I'm just gonna go into labor, and because then even my midwife didn't have another appointment until 3 days before my due date, as soon as she had another opening. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna be able to see anybody. I'm just gonna go into labor, and it's gonna be crazy, and I'm not gonna know what's gonna happen. And anyways, so I had a meltdown, and then I just sat there and I prayed for like a good 15-20 minutes. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I prayed for forgiveness because I felt really bad for complaining so much and being so miserable after God has blessed me with this miracle. And I thanked him for giving me this baby, and I prayed for forgiveness for being this way. I prayed for strength and understanding and patience and healing, and I prayed my heart out. I just did. And afterwards I felt so much calmer and better, and I was like, you know what, I am just thankful for this baby. I need to just stop complaining, suffer in silence, and just take it day by day, and whatever is meant to happen is going to happen, and I will be okay, and I need to trust in God. And I felt much better afterwards. So when I was done, got up, I cooked dinner, I started feeling better, and then all of a sudden, this is like 5:30 in the afternoon where everyone is closing, it's a holiday weekend, I get a call from the hospital that I had my daughter from, and it's a nurse, and she was saying, well, this doctor has the last minute opening, he can see you Tuesday morning. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, someone is listening to me, thank you, oh my gosh. Like it was like a miracle, like getting a call back just a couple hours later for something like that on a holiday weekend after hours. Like I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And I honestly just think it was a miracle. I even told the nurse, and she seemed very sympathetic to what I was going through, which is the first medical person who did seem kind of sympathetic to what I've been going through. And so it was just a really good feeling. So at this point, I know this is a long story, I have an appointment on Tuesday morning to talk to an MD about a C-section, if it's even a possibility, if he would do it on these grounds, because some just won't do elective C-sections, and if it would even be a good choice for me, or if it would just be straight up better if I did the vaginal birth. And I just want to know my options. I want to know what would be better, because I'm just scared. I'm terrified of this, the pain to come, and the recovery, and how that is all going to go. So that is where I'm going to leave all of that. I will be updating you guys. I guess it depends on how everything goes. I might just do a quick little vlog update right after the appointment. if nothing, and then if anything happens labor wise or scheduling a C-section wise in that week, I will be vlogging it and be putting together a video for you guys. Or if nothing happens, then I'll just do another sit down video next week. So who knows what's going to be happening next week. I will be 39 weeks, and yeah, I don't know, let's see how that goes. So I know that was super long, but it was 2 weeks worth of stuff that happened, and lots of stuff happened, and it's just been a crazy week. I can't even believe I managed to not cry this whole video, because it's just been really hard. So I will go ahead and read it real quick from the Bump app, since you do that every time. I'm just going to read the 38 weeks, since that's what I am now. I usually do this first, but I had to get all that out there and let you guys know why I did not post last week. Alright, baby is as big as a winter melon. I don't really know what that is. 19.6 inches, 6.61 pounds. Baby may have about an inch or so of hair already. I'm sure he does. Baby is slowly shedding that white goo on the skin called vernix caseosa, but you might see some at birth. Baby is about 18.9 to 20.9 inches long and weighs about 6.2 to 9.2 pounds. That's like a big gap, but I mean, hey, I'm thinking he's probably close to 7 pounds right now. That's the other thing about giving birth vaginally. Everly was very small, and with all the things going on down there, I'm really scared to give birth to a big baby. The head is now about the same circumference as the abdomen. So then it says, if you feel a sort of lightning bolt running up and down your legs and in your crotch, don't freak out. At 38 weeks, baby's probably sitting pretty low in your pelvis, which means baby's bumping into all kinds of nerves down there, including some pretty sensitive ones you might not know you had. I don't think I've been getting lightning crotch, but I do feel a lot of pressure down there. When I stand up, I'm like, oh my gosh, just the pressure like that he's putting on me, and then like picking up my legs hurt just when I first get up and start walking. If I'm walking around a little bit, like, I'm fine, but when I first get up and start walking, it hurts to pick up my legs and walk, and I'm like, oh, I walk like a 90-year-old woman, like, it's awful. Plus the hemorrhoids, you know, make me walk funny too. So be on the lookout for signs of labor, including contractions that come on stronger and more regular intervals, and the bloody show. It could happen any day now, or it might not for a few weeks. Until then, try to relax. So I've just been getting my contractions. I have been getting more, and they have been a little bit more intense, but they're nothing regular except for what happened on my 37-week day. So my body at 38 weeks, lightning crotch. You're probably still having Braxton Hicks contractions, difficulty sleeping, vaginal discharge, and itchy belly, and swollen feet and ankles. All of those, yes. You might have had a slightly bloody mucus discharge known as bloody show. This is a sign labor is coming. I've not had that. Could also have some diarrhea, which could also mean that baby is coming. Haven't had that. So, yeah, I mean, there's no sign of him really coming anytime soon, which makes me confused because part of me is like, let's get this over with. I'm really scared. The other part of me is like, let's wait to see if we can do the C-section. Don't come yet. So I don't know. I'm really torn and confused, and I'm just, if it weren't for these hemorrhoids, this would be an amazing last bit of my pregnancy. With Everly, I didn't feel good at all, and with this pregnancy, except for the hemorrhoids, I feel really great. And so I'm kind of bummed that this has been ruining the last of my pregnancy, but I'm really trying to still, after my meltdown and my praying, change my mindset and hold him in my belly a little bit more and talk to him, and try thinking about the miracle that's happening instead of the pain that's happening. So I know that was so long, guys. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me, leave them down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.